is in its initial stage, and we have to understand what is that, and then sooner or later we have to implement whatever things are given in the NEP. So it is related to the new national education policy, which was given by the government of India in 2020. And during that year itself, we were facing the problem of pandemic also, COVID pandemic also. So they have incorporated so many things related to education. And suppose COVID-like situations are there, then how we can utilize the digital infrastructure and all that. So I'll try to cover a brief overview of the entire NEP, and then I'll be focusing more on this following three chapters. That is chapter number 11 of NEP 2020, Holistic and Multidisciplinary Education, because it is given very high importance in the NEP. And as you can see that the theme of the FDP is applying data sciences and AI over the earth sciences. So it is also indicating somehow that whatever Atal FDPs are granted, those are aligned with the NEP visions actually. So in that way, actually, this multidisciplinary education is on the very top priority in government's mind, and it has been given a lot of weightage in the NEP 2020. So we are going to understand that what are the key things inside it and how it will be implemented. What is the concept of MERU, that is multidisciplinary education and research universities, dedicated universities government is going to launch for multidisciplinary education in future. We are going to talk on that. Followed by this, I have selected two very specific chapters from NEP 2020 that is related to technology actually. So as we are working with the NIT technical institutions, and at the same time, the theme of the workshop is data science applications. So I'm very happy to share that these two chapters are only talking about this particular technologies and how these technologies can be integrated with the education system. So as a teacher, as the academician, there are several questions in our mind that digital education sometimes is not very effective. Conduction of examination is very, very problematic in digital mode and so on. So, we are very surprised to know that NEP considers all these parameters, and they have created a very solid framework by which these two chapters can be implemented in future. Government has given a plenty of time by which you can, implement the technology use and integration to the digital education, to the education sector and all that. So what are the salient features of these two chapters that we are going to see in today's session? I'll be covering the concept in the brief manner so that my talk can be finished in 1 hour or so. So let us start with the things. So when we are talking about NEP 2020, first of all, we need to understand that why this policy was introduced by Government of India. What is the need of it? So the answer of this particular question is given in the vision of NEP 2020 policy. So I'm just reading a couple of very important lines here, which is simply indicating that what is the theme and why this particular policy was introduced at this particular stage, how it is going to become one of the very, very, reformation of the education systems in India in the next 2 decades. So if you can recall long back, we used to give example that at the time of Ramayana, Mahabharata and all that, the guru systems were there. Students used to go to the jungles, their kutiyas, and there they are going to reside for getting the knowledge. And previously, also long back, if we can talk, then in India we do have universities like Nalanda, Takshashila, and all that, which were very, very reputed, very, very famous. And at that time, there were no foreign universities which were reputed. But the problem is, whatever values we have earlier, those we have not kept, and those were not updated on the basis of time. And then we have seen that other universities from other countries came and they have captured the entire education sector. So the theme of NEP, if you can see, I'm just reading the first line of the vision, that this national education policy envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos that contributes directly to transforming India, that is Bharat, sustainably into the equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all, and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. So we were knowledge superpower earlier. If you can see that, even in the Hanuman Chalisa, there is the formula to calculate the distance between Earth and Sun. So those kind of things we have not preserved, and this is how we are missing somehow with our rooted system, This is how the NEP is just focusing from the roots, the latest version of the education, and then trying to integrate that so that India, that is Bharat, can become one of the global knowledge superpower in the future. The policy is that the curriculum and pedagogy of our institution must develop among the student deep sense of respect towards the fundamental duties and constitutional values, bonding with one's country and conscientious awareness of one's roles and responsibilities in changing world. The vision of policy is to instill among the learner a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thoughts, but also in spirit, intellects, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skill, values, and dispositions that support responsibility, commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a true global citizen. So when we are studying, when we are living in this particular country, so whatever we are doing, that is actually representing our country. So how that thing we can inculcate to our education system, and whatever degrees we are getting, whatever moral responsibilities we are bearing, how that can be, shared in the globe so that we can proudly say that I am the Indian, I am carrying this particular values, and this is how I learned this particular thing from my country. So this is how the policy is simply focusing on the rooted system, and it is attaching the citizen to, more towards the country actually. That as it is mentioned that it is not only in thought but also in the spirit, intellect, and practical situations actually. So with this policy, if you can see the NEP 2020 document, then it is broadly categorized into four major components. So education, it is starting right from the schools to the, up to the PhD, post PhD, and higher education. So if you can see this in the 2020 document, then there are four major components. Number one is school education. Number two is higher education. Number three is other key areas of focus. And number four is about implementation of NEP 2020. That is how it is making it happen, how we are going to implement it. So today we are going to focus on part number 2 and 3, the chapter number 13, multidisciplinary education, and then digital technologies, technology use and integration, that is in the part number 3 that we are going to talk in today's session. These are the names of the chapter inside each of the part. So part 1 is school education. If you can see, there are 8 chapters. So that is talking about, child care, education, foundational learning, literacy, numeracy, teachers, how teachers can be, given training, what kind of subject they can create, how it can be holistic, integrated, and enjoyable and engaging learning kind of thing. Then equitable and inclusive education. Equitable means learning for all the students, whether he is living in the village or he is living in the metro city. So it should be equal to all the students, whatever school education they are doing. Then efficient resourcing and effective governance is also required for proper management of the school education. So chapter number 7 is talking about it. And finally, chapter number 8, if you can see, it is standard setting and accreditation for school education. So as of now, we are very much, aware of accreditation processes for universities, for colleges. So under NEP 2020, even schools can also be accredited. So they have to follow the standard procedures. They have to prepare all the relevant documents, not only documents, but practically also how the education is reaching to the student. So those kind of measures are mentioned in the chapter number 8. Then part 2 is talking about the higher education, which is above the school education. And you can see here that there are chapters starting from chapter number 9 to 19. So it is talking about quality university and colleges, institutional restructuring, consolidation, and then today's lecture, what we are talking is towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education. Then optimal learning environments, motivated, energized, capable faculties, equity and inclusion in higher education, teacher education, vocational education is very clearly understood with the objectives and how it can be implemented. That is given in the chapter number 16. Then we have catalyzing quality academic research, transforming the regularity system for higher education, and effective governance and leadership for higher education institutions. That is given in the chapter number 19. So it is very difficult to talk about all the chapters individually, but in today's session, we are going to talk about one of these chapters, that too in the very brief. But it is not only limited to this. If you can read the policy document, even very, very small things like how teachers are going to get promotions, how they can be motivated, how they are going to conduct FDPs, in which area they should conduct it. Just like that, lot of things are mentioned inside it. So the document is publicly available. At the last, I will be showing you that where it is available. So if you are interested, you can just go through with it, because as I told you that sooner or later we have to implement it, whatever, wherever we are working. If we are associated with education, then this is the future of education in India. That is NEP 2020. Then the part three of NEP 2020 document is having this uh, five major chapters, which is other key areas of focus. So here you can see the first chapter is talking about the professional education, then adult education and lifelong learning, promotion of Indian languages, arts and cultures. So if you are reading newspaper these days, we are talking like the engineering classes will be held in regional languages also. In Hindi also we have to teach. If you are residing in AP, then the classes will be conducted in Telugu language also, just like that. So this is how, if you can see the chapter number 2020, it is promoting all the Indian languages in education, arts, cultures, and various professional degrees actually. Then the next two chapters that we are going to see in today's session is what are the existing technologies which can be integrated, which can be utilized for the education, that is given in the chapter number 23. And chapter number 24 is online and digital education, ensuring equitable use of technology. So naturally, there are certain points, feasibility kind of thing is there, infrastructure is there, internet kind of thing are there. In villages, internet is not so much good. So how it will be reaching towards the country? How pan India coverage will be there for online and digital education? Those kind of points are discussed in chapter number 24. And finally, the last part of NEP document is talking about implementation plan of the NEP. So the section title in the NEP document is part for making it happen. Inside that, you can see there are three chapters. Chapter number 25 is talking about strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education. So in the document, it is mentioned that government will be forming one board called as the CAB, that is Central Advisory Board of Education, and they will be given the responsibility of implementation of NEP 2020 right from the schools to the higher education. Then the chapter number 26 is financing. So of course, money is required for proper implementation of NEP 2020. So if you can see the as of now the expenditure towards the education. So right now we are spending around 4.43 to 5% of GDP. So government's plan is to bring it up to the 6% of GDP at the earliest, so that NEP 2020 implementation can be faster. And finally, if you can see the deadline of the implementation, then government has clearly mentioned that there are so many steps. Those are already initiated. Some of these steps are even implemented also. We are going to talk about that. What are implementing? What are the things available? But in the decade of 2030, 2040, government is planning that it will be implemented 100%. So that, the countrywide NP 2020 will be implemented for all the education sectors, right from the school to the higher education. So this is the, given deadline in the schedule of NEP 2020. Now let us talk about the three chapters in brief, that what are the things given inside that, and what is the benefit of that and how it can be implemented. Let us talk about that. So first of all, chapter number 11, it is towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education. So as we are talking about this particular workshop, even the workshop title itself is the multidisciplinary education. We need to have persons from data science background. We need to have persons from the earth sciences. And then we are understanding that how data science technologies can be applied over the earth sciences. So this is a very simple example of multidisciplinary education, that where persons are working together from the different disciplines to achieve a particular goal, that is called as the multidisciplinary education. So in this way, particularly, government is even planning to establish the dedicated universities with the name of Merus, that we are going to see later what is Meru. And I just heard that it is just launched. Meru, one of the Meru is just launched in the country also. I don't remember the location, but it is on the launching stage actually. So these are the few points written in this chapter, chapter 11, about the holistic and multidisciplinary learning. So on the first point, government is focusing on introducing the liberal arts to the all the subjects. So as of now, our general tendency is when we are talking about arts, we are simply thinking that it is non-technical stuff, something like this. But it is not like that. If you can see the definition of art, and that is given in the first paragraph, that the very idea that all the branches of creative human endeavors, including mathematics, science, vocational subjects, professional subjects, and soft skills should be considered as art. So art is not like only limited to the soft skills subjects, but in mathematics also we do see arts. In science also we do see arts. So when we are talking about arts, it is not only that. Even it is the bigger subset. We have mathematics, science, vocational subject, professional subjects. Every subject we can see, what are the arts and how that can be integrated into the education. So on this particular first point, the objective is knowledge of many arts. That is our objective that we need to develop and deliver to the students. So it is quite possible that some of the students are very good in mathematics, some of the students are very good in vocational subjects, some of the students are very good in professional subjects, right? So they can combine these two, three subjects where they are good and they can develop their own skill set. So this particular point is talking about that whatever curriculum is designed under the multidisciplinary education, the very basic concept there will be the liberal arts. And art, again, I'm again repeating that art is not like soft skills, but the definition of art is also given that includes mathematics, science, vocational subject, professional subject, and soft skills. Now, this particular point, second point of the same chapter is talking about integration between arts and humanities plus STEM. Now, what is STEM? STEM is having four components, right? It is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So how we are going to integrate the humanities and arts subject with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, so that the positive learning outcomes can be developed in the multidisciplinary environment. It is talking about it, and it is talking that we have various approaches by which we can achieve this holistic and multidisciplinary thing, and research component can also be integrated so that the STEM integration of art and humanities is not only limited to the school education, but it can go up to the higher educations also. And this particular chapter is particularly belonging to higher education. So most of the time we are, already saying that some of the person is doing PhD in healthcare system in computer science and engineering. So person is from computer science and engineering, but he is having data set of medical sciences and all that. So this is how up to certain level this multidisciplinary education is and research is already in place, but the same thing is going to be expanded in the future. Then the third section of chapter 11 is about outcomes of the holistic education. So it is aimed to develop the capacities of human being, intellect, aesthetical, social, physical, emotional, so that person can have knowledge and skill set in various domains rather than on one. So this particular section is talking about that. So under all the UG programs, we can see diversity of the subjects. Those things can make it more multidisciplinary. Those kind of approaches are there. Then the next section is talking about higher education institutions to move towards holistic education. So it is clearly mentioned that the even the engineering institutions such as IITs, who are very well known for the technical education, bigger brand for technical education in India, even they have to move towards the holistic and multidisciplinary education in future, so that they can accommodate the diversity of skill set development for these students. Then next point is about the flexible curricular structure, and particularly, very important point out of this is multiple entry and multiple exit option. So as of now, what is happening is when somebody is going for UG programs in some of the institutions, then they have to spend 3 to 4 years of time, then they will be getting UG degree. For PG degree and PhDs also, there are certain deadlines. Sometimes what happens is due to some reasons, if some of the student is leaving the course in between, then they are not getting anything out of that. So for the continuing education, for the lifelong learning experiment, government is trying to implement, and this thing is already started implementation actually for multiple entry and multiple exit option. So it is something like students can live in between, and then in future, suppose they are willing to continue, then they can again continue. Now the thing is like how institutions will keep track of this, that what is the learning level of the institute student. So for that purpose, government has already launched some of the portals. So ABC is one of the portal which is already in place. Most of the institutions have already registered for ABC. ABC is called as the Academic Bank of Credit. So that maintains the information about what are the number of credits earned by a particular student at a particular time. So even NIT Raipur, just 6 months back, we have registered for ABC portal also. That is under the NSDL umbrella, and all the repositories related to students, institute, degree, that will be the part of NSDL. So ABC is, you know, ABC will be providing the thing by which multiple entry and exit options can be implemented. Then the next section in this particular chapter is talking about the flexible curricular structure. So the student can opt a particular subject from the different discipline also, which will be having different credits. So the courses will be more towards the credit related things rather than one of the specialization or something like that, because it is multidisciplinary approach. So cross disciplinary, if you can see the last line of this presentation, it is talking about opportunities for cross disciplinary and interdisciplinary thinking. So a student even can opt for different discipline subjects, and they can earn credit on that particular subject also. So this is how this approach of curricular structure will be much flexible as compared to the today's curricular structure. Then when we are talking about multidisciplinary education, integration of art and humanities with the STEM, right, science, mathematics, and all that we are trying to integrate, then the Department of Art and Humanities is very important to a particular university and institution. So they need to be strengthening actually, right? So this is how this particular section is talking about department in languages, literature, music, philosophy, art, dance, theater, education, mathematics, and so on will be established. So in one of the previous point, it was written that even the IITs have to go for this particular implementation. It means suppose some of the departments are not available in IITs and IITs and other places, they have to establish this particular department in future also, so that multidisciplinary education can be implemented. And finally, in the last line, you can see it is talking that even we can utilize the ODL mode of teaching and learning. So ODL is open and distant learning mode. So we have to use the online platforms by which the education can be reachable to the person even if he is physically not present into the systems. Now, point number 8 of chapter 11 is talking about flexible and innovative curricula for all the higher education institutions. Area and topic for such courses are defined. So here you can see that it is credit based courses and projects will be developed, so that people can opt different credit from different discipline. They can do the project where multiple disciplines can be engaged, so that you can have knowledge of multiple disciplines. You can develop multiple skill set from various disciplines. This is how this particular things will be defined. So students at all the higher education institutions will be provided with opportunities for internship with local industries or with the businesses or with the local artists or with the craft persons and so on, etc. So that they can develop the skill set as per the requirement of their project, their skill set development and all that. So this is defined in this particular section. Then it is talking about the structure and length of the degree programs. So as of now, we know that the UG level degree we are giving either in the 3 years or 4 years. So now we are going for implementation of multiple entry and multiple exit. So this is how if somebody is studying for 2 years, later on they can again join it in third year after a certain point. So that you can see the last paragraph what I was talking earlier. It is Academic Bank of Credit ABC. So that is portal that is already available. It is in place. You can type in Google ABC portal, or you can directly go to the abc.gov.in. You will be having detailed information of this particular portal, how these credits are, managed for all the students over there. And sooner or later, again, I'm telling you that all the institutions, all the universities has to register on this particular portal. It is mandatory to register in this particular portal. Most of the universities, all the IITs and ITs have already registered on this. So it is already in place for implementation of multiple entry and multiple exit. Along with that, there are provisions that there will be 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor programs. So this thing is already, starting very slowly into the IITs right now. If you can see some of the IITs, they have already started some of the programs related to electrical vehicles. So in that, they are taking the combination of mechanical, electrical engineering, computer science, and this is how those kind of multidisciplinary programs are starting. And government is also recommending that 4-year programs may link to degree with research programs also, so that same student can carry out PhD degree or research degree in one of the multidisciplinary programs. Master degree program. So in this, one of the thing which is very clearly written that MPhil program will be discontinued in the future. Rather than that, integrated courses will be started. So in integrated courses, we can see that MTech PhD combined together or master level PhD will be combined together, or BTech degree with the research courses, additional credits will be there. So this is how this kind of flexible master programs will be offered under this. And then this is very important. This is already started by government, and very soon in the next decade we can see that there are many universities under this particular section, that is model public universities. So with the name of MERUs, under the umbrella of MERUs, we can see multidisciplinary education and research universities, where multidisciplinary courses will be offered to the students. Those kind of setup will be there in place. So as we have seen, the deadline of implementation was the decade 2030 to 2040. By that time, we can see, 50, 60 such bigger universities across the country which can offer this kind of courses. So it is simply indicating that MERUs will be established over the period of time, maintaining the global standards and quality education for multidisciplinary education. Then the, chapter point number 12 of the chapter 11 is talking about research and innovation. So again, you can see that it is talking about multidisciplinary research. So interdisciplinary approaches we have to consider. We have to integrate the knowledge from various domains and then find out some of the research outcomes out of this. So it is talking about that. The NRF is one of the foundation, National Research Foundation, that will be established by Government of India to keep of how it can be implemented and how a student can be motivated towards multidisciplinary research in future, something like that. It is also going to deal with funding of the multidisciplinary research actually. So that is the end of chapter number 11, first of all, which is very specifically talking about the multidisciplinary education, even the establishment of the rules, and then we have seen one of the very important multiple entry, multiple exit option, and portal ABC, Academic Bank of Credit, by which it can be implemented. So those were the key highlights from that particular chapter. Now we are moving forward for the other two chapters, which are related to technology actually, how technology can be integrated with the education sector, and what is the plan of government which is listed down in NEP 2020 document. So very briefly, I'll be highlighting some of the very important points. So chapter number 23 is technology use and integration. You can see the highlighted keywords only. It is simply mentioning that the Digital India companion is something like under which this technology use and integration is there for education system. And new technologies involving artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, smart board, handheld computing devices, adaptive computing testing for student development, and other form of educational software and hardware will be, planned under this particular chapter, which can be utilized effectively for, digital education under Digital India companionship. So these are the first 2 points. Then we can see the other thing, third point out of this. So government is going to establish one forum called as the National Education Technology Forum, NETF. So the objective of NETF will be to provide a platform for the free exchange of ideas on the use of technologies to enhance learning, assessment, planning, administration, and so on for school and higher education. The aim of NETF will be to facilitate decision making on the adoption, deployment, and use of technology by providing the leadership to the educational institutions. So this is how any TF is very important component for this particular chapter. And some of the functions are again listed down separately, that it will be providing independent evidence-based advice to the central and state government agencies for proper implementation. Then it will be building intellect and institutional capacities for education in India, particularly digital education, in which are strategic trust area in this domain. So they will be finding out what is the latest trend in the technology, how it can be, integrated with the education, what new courses can be offered under this. This is how they will be working on this. And finally, articulate new directions for research and innovation. So of course, it is something like it is lifelong practice, the way we are updating our syllabus. So in the similar manners, time to time, what is the latest trend in research, innovation, those will be listed down and courses will be offered according to the need of that particular time. The next point is talking about any TF will maintain a regular inflow of authentic data from multiple sources, including educational technology, innovators, and practitioners. Because that data will be analyzed, and based on that outcomes, further new courses will be developed actually. NETF will organize multiple regional and national conferences, workshops, just to create one awareness kind of thing among the pupils, among the teachers, among the students to understand about the digital education and how we are going to utilize it. The third area of technology intervention will be something like improving teaching, learning, and evaluation process, supporting teacher preparation and professional development, enhancing educational access, and streamlining education planning, management, and administration, including processes related to admission, attendance, assessment, and rest of the other. So this is how we can see that the entire digital technologies will be there for all the processes related to the education. We can see here admission is also mentioned, attendance is also mentioned for the digital education, evaluation process is also mentioned. And government is already aware of that there are challenges in evaluation processes in the digital mode, in the online mode. There are challenges with the attendance in the online mode, digital mode. So what are their tentative solutions? How prototype softwares can be developed? How pilot project can be built on that so that it can be further improved? All these things are mentioned in this particular chapter. So here you can see that government is planning to have a rich variety of educational softwares related to the digital education. All major Indian languages will be covered under this. So it is not like only English language will be there for the mode of communication. Rather than that, since it is in the online mode, so students can find out, they can select one of the appropriate language for learning. Then including in remote areas, Divyang students, for all them provisions are there. Now what happens is, even we do have experience of it, that when we gone for online classes during COVID, then there were few students, they were saying that we do not have internet access. In our village area, it is very remote and internet speed is not that much good, something like that. So what are the alternatives? How that problem can be resolved, or whether over the period of time, whether fiber will be reachable to those villages or not. Those kind of challenges that government already know. So based on that, they have created a master plan that how it can be implemented over the period of time. So for this purpose, they have created various boards. They are taking the help of various boards like NCERT, CBSE, NIOS, and other bodies, institutions. And Diksha platform, again, it is one of the available platform from Government of India. You can say diksha.gov.in in Google, you will be getting this particular platform, which is keeping track of all the systems for school educations in the online mode, which is available. So along with Diksha, Swayam is also one of the again platform portal. So in Swayam, you can see we do have DTH channels. So it is running like a television channel under the DT, national what DT national, and under that it is there. So for that we even don't need internet. Even I have watched some of the classes from Swayam. So you can see that professors from very old IITs, IIT, Bombay, Kanpur, Madras, they are taking lectures related to one of the engineering topic, one of the subject, and that is running on the television. So even you don't need the internet also. So it is just like a satellite communication, and all these things are available as the television. So this is how they are planning to expand this particular platforms like Diksha and Swayam, so that the most of the problems related to technology, internet, and all that can be resolved. And then this particular point is talking about attention will need to be paid to emerging disruptive technologies. So even government has already started working on this particular thing. This is how, if you can see the Atal FDPs, they are only be sanctioned for the disruptive technologies like data science, because government knows that this is the trending technology. If students are getting their skill set development under this particular technologies, they will be consumed somewhere. So this is how disruptive technologies are the primary theme under the digital education, and that will be accessed over the period of time, and the courses will be offered on the basis of this. So the next point is in the continuation of the previous point, where some of the technologies are mentioned, like disruptive technologies, AI, virtual reality. So courses related to this, how this can be integrated with the other domains, how multidisciplinary education can consume virtual reality, blockchain, AI, data science. So on the basis of that, any PF will be funding courses, and disruptive technology will be in focus under this particular chapter. The next point in this particular chapter is in context of AI. National Research Foundation (NRF) will consider three propaganda approach: advanced core AI research, developing and deploying application research, advancing international research effort to across global to address the global challenges in areas such as healthcare, agriculture, and climate changes using AI. So NRF is something like it is research foundation for the country. So they will be talking about the high quality research to the higher education. So here you can see that this particular thing will be promoted, right? Related to AI, they have particularly mentioned this particular thing, that AI we can integrate with healthcare, agriculture, climate change, and so many other things. So this is how they have already exercised some of the thing, and as of now, they have proposed this particular thing in this chapter. Next point in this particular chapter is initial version of institutional material and courses will be made online. That is called as the draft of the content that will be published. And once the technology has attained a level of maturity, then higher education institute will thousands of students will ideally to scale this teaching and scaling software. So after getting some maturity, after getting some feedback, after getting some experience, more advanced courses will be offered, and it will be scaled to the countrywide level actually. Institutions will have autonomy to approve institutional and non-institutional partner to deliver such training. So sometimes suppose institute is not capable enough to go and deliver each and everything under the digital technology umbrella, then even they can hire the trainer, and then those will be located somewhere to provide training and all. Universities will aim to offer PhD and master program in the multidisciplinary approach, like machine learning as well as some other field. AI plus X, AI plus earth science, what we are talking in this particular workshop. So X can be any other field like healthcare, law, agriculture, weather forecasting system, meteorology and all that. So AI can be integrated, and this is how advanced research can be attained. So PhD program and master programs can be offered like this under this particular chapter, supporting the AI value chain such as data annotations, image classification, speech transcription, something like that. So some of the applications are also mentioned as the example where we can utilize the power of AI, data science, latest technologies like blockchain, and we can just go for attaining the multidisciplinary education, particularly to master level and PhD level. This point is talking about that. Then the next point in chapter number 23 is, in schools, the study of current affairs and ethical issues will be included. The discussion on disruptive technologies. And those will be identified by the board, NETF, and MHRD. It is Ministry of Education now. So even, in the school curriculum also, the students will be given awareness of the disruptive technologies. What is data science? What is artificial intelligence? What is driverless car? What is blockchain technology? What it is doing? What is cryptocurrency? So that, students can have knowledge of this. That, this is one of the technology which is trending in the world right now. And because if you can see the trend, the functions of mobile phones, These school children are knowing better than us. So this is how they can grab this particular disruptive technologies, and they can have some idea about in future where they wanted to go. Then the next point is talking about data, because when we are talking about data science, AI, data becomes one of the very important things. So when we are working with the data, there are few challenges also. It is not like from Google we are getting data somehow from the internet, we are directly using it. Not like that. So government is also even considerable for that what can be the data, what can be the issues related to the data. This point is related to that. It's saying that data is a key fuel for AI-based technologies, but it is having certain ethical issues also. Privacy protection is one of the major concern. And then you can see that there are various other ethical things also. And when we are working with the healthcare data, then we have to make sure that the patient information is not disclosed somewhere. So this is how there are certain things which we need to keep track. So this particular point is somehow related to that. So some guidelines will be prepared that how we can utilize the data for under this particular courses under the digital education. Then the next chapter is about the online and digital education, ensuring equitable use of technologies. So here you can see that it is particularly related to teaching learning and how we are going to integrate the ICT platform to this. So it is something like we have to first of all create some of the pilot studies to determine that how benefit, how much benefit we are getting from online or digital education, what are the problems we are getting, something like that. So once we will be getting from that, then those pilot projects can be corrected and final products can be made for this particular thing. So it is this chapter is from that point only that first of all we have to deploy the pilot project. Those pilot studies will be scaled up for the real world application for this particular chapter. So as I have mentioned earlier that this digital technology, digital education is the part of Digital India Companionship. So under this, one of their prime objective is the availability of affordable computing devices, because they are talking about concern of equity. All the students, whether they are living in the village or metro city, government is making sure that all will be getting equal values in terms about digital education and all that. So apart from the smartphones, whether we can develop our own affordable computing devices where digital teaching learning can be paid. So that is one of the very essential component of this particular chapter. And some research is already going on in this particular direction. So very soon we can just get to know that some of the computing devices are there using which things can be implemented at the initial levels. Then this particular point on this, if you can see to this, it is talking about various points. I'm reading some of the points related to this, that it cannot be assumed that a good teacher in the traditional classroom will automatically be a good teacher in the online classroom. So, just find out, just try to understand that up to what level government has analyzed the things that they have documented it. It is fact also. Practically, we have seen that a teacher who is very good in the traditional classrooms is not able to deliver properly into the online classroom. So what are the gaps in between them? How that can be improved? This point is talking about that. There are numerous challenges to conducting online examination at scale. Examination is one of the very bigger challenge in digital education, online teaching learning. So this point is documented here. Some of the solutions, pilot studies are also considered here, using which it can be into the future and these things can be eliminated. Then see the next one. Very common thing we have got the feedback from a student during our online classes, during the COVID timing, handling network and power disruptions, right? Most of these students at the time of Viva, they are saying we are having network issue, and we are not sure that whether they are right or wrong or what, right? Even power can go sometimes, so even teacher cannot do anything on that. So how we are going to understand that, how we are going to handle this network issues, power disruptions, how unethical practices can be prevented. This point is talking about that actually. And some of the things are mentioned here, those are under pilot studies, and then gaps will be identified and over the period of time it will be implemented. You can see, some of the names are given there. Screen-based education, limited focus on social effective, psychometer dimension of learning. So some of the things are there, some points are there, which will be considered for implementing this. And these are some of the points related to the same point, that how we are going to address the challenges. So pilot studies for online education. So premium institutions like IITs, NITs, CI, NETF, the forum, they will be identifying some of the pilot studies to the institutions. They will ask the institution to conduct viva exams, studies on these platforms, and then list down the analysis, gap analysis, where we are lacking and how we can improve on that. That is the first point, sub point under this particular point. Second is digital infrastructure. So government has already planned the small cost computing devices. So that thing is again written here, that there is a need to invest in creation of open, interoperable, evolvable public digital infrastructure in education sector that is used by multiple platforms and point solutions actually. Right. So how we can invest, how we can derive, how we can devise such computing platform, that is another challenge which is already identified under digital infrastructure. Then you can see online teaching platforms and tools. So this point is again, already mentioned in the previous chapter, that there will be expansion of Swayam and Diksha platforms to cater the other courses also. So it is simply talking about that. And then content creation, digital repository, dissemination of the content. So for this, they can utilize learning games, simulators, augmented reality, virtual reality, those kind of technologies can be utilized for content creation, digital repository, so that it can look attractive. Even all can enjoy the content. This is how government will be planning to have a set of tool and tools by which it can be done. Then addressing the digital divide. This is very important point to our country actually. The existing mass India, such as television, radio, community radio, will be extensively used for telecast and broadcast. Such educational program will be made available 24 by 7 in different languages to cater the varying need of the students' population. So this is how, using this particular technologies, televisions, radio, community radio, we can minimize this particular digital divide, which is there between rural and urban area, that can be minimized with the help of this. A special focus on content in all Indian languages will be given. It is the mandate of NEP 2020 that when we are having platform like Digital India, so a student can be happy able to choose the Indian language under which they wanted to understand that technology. Along with this, virtual lab concept is also proposed. Right now, virtual is given by one of the IITs. That will be expanded under Diksha Swayam and Swayam Prabha. So under these three digital platforms, we can see virtual labs in future also. Then training and incentives for the teachers. So it is very important component that first of all, teachers must get training how to utilize these devices and infrastructure for proper and effective teaching learning process. So that will be there. Online assessment and examination. So you can see here that assessment center, something like Bharat, School Board, NTA, National Testing Agencies, those kind of things will be utilized for online assessment and examination at the initial level, and later on with the help of advanced tools, software frameworks, it can be carried out into the online. And then blended modes of learning. So some students will be attending the class in the offline mode, some will be attending in the remote places with the help of online technologies. Those kind of things are there. And then laying down standards. So naturally, if we need the proper execution of this thing, then we need to have processes. So those will be carried out by NETF forum, and they will be documenting each and everything by which it can be implemented. So this is the URL by where we can get this NEP 2020 document, and all the chapters, the detailed explanations are mentioned over there. Even I have taken the entire content from the same PDF file which is available here in the official site of Government of India. It is education.gov.in, and inside that NEP final English version is available, and final Hindi version is also available for there. So with this, I wanted to thank you, all of you, for your time, for listening me. If you have any query, you can ask me right now so that we can give at least 4 or 5 minutes to the discussion point in the discussions of NEP 2020. Anything from audience? offline mode or in the online mode. If you have any question, then we can give 2-3 minutes to it. The next speaker is also already here. So anything, any question? Okay. After this, there will be a break of 15 minutes. Okay. So if there are no questions, then there is a break of 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, we are going to continue with the next session. Thank you. Thank you.